Thank you for joining our session, and thank you to the sponsoring company you see here. Please note that there are additional sessions on this topic available to you during MarTech, from MarTech as well as this sponsor. You can find all these sessions on the MarTech agenda. And just a reminder, if you missed one, all the sessions are available on demand. With nearly 12,000 tools available, selecting the right MarTech can be challenging. Meet the MarTech Intelligence Reports, free buyer's guides exploring specific platforms, including purchase considerations, leading players, adoption trends, and more. No matter where you are in the purchase journey, MarTech Intelligence Reports can help.
Hello and welcome to this session titled Creating Human Connections in Modern Digital Experiences. My name is Dr. Kyle Allison. I'm also known as the Doctor of Digital Strategy with over 2 decades of digital marketing, e-commerce, and marketing automation experience in the corporate retail sector. I'm also a professor of digital marketing and really enjoy the field. I'm excited to bring to you this topic today. What are we going to learn today is very important to the modern environment of digital experiences. First, how to elevate marketing automation and personalization technology with the human connection factor. Second, how to optimize rule induction tactics in digital experiences and personalization strategies with the right analytical approach and iterative testing environment. But before we get into those, let's talk about what digital really is. When you think about digital, there's all these buzzwords that we all talk about on a regular basis. Buzzwords such as transformational, future-proof, technological, disruptive, big data, metaverse, automation, progressive, and the ultimate word now, artificial intelligence. All these words are absolutely credible to digital technology and experiences, but there's one missing element which we're going to talk about in more detail. But before we get there though, let's talk about the current state of digital experiences and personalization. It's really an if-then statement in today's environment. First, if customers want digital personalized experiences, then why are more companies not doing it or struggling to do it optimal? The key word there is not just why are we not doing it as digital marketers, but more importantly, not doing it optimal. We still have a gap in strategy today for digital experiences to really connect with our consumers on a more humanistic level. We'll talk more about how to do that in just a moment. Before we get into the details on how to really drive digital personalization strategies and experiences with that human connection factor, let's first look at some modern statistics on personalization today. From Segment and a personalization report from 2022, they quoted that 24% of firms report that they are effectively investing in omni-channel personalization. But they also are experiencing department silos with outdated technology being the main impediments to success. So only 1/4 of firms from this survey are really investing into omni-channel personalization strategy, which means many more companies are still trying to figure out the investment strategy and then how to resolve that investment strategy by providing a return on investment on that technology. Second, there's other barriers such as department silos and the outdated technology to have a full-blown personalization strategy. The second statistic from the survey was 43% of companies perceive accurate, real-time customer data as the most difficult hurdle in their personalization efforts. So even using the right customer data is still a struggle for some companies, and not just customer profile data, like where they're from, payment methods, or their genders, where they live, etc. It's also their behavior data, how to really merge traditional customer profile data along with behavioral data that truly build a full-blown digital experience strategy. From Smart Insights in 2021, the strategy barriers for personalization are where to even start. Some companies are still trying to figure out how to really even use this technology effectively to be strategic with their experiences. They lack a strategic approach. They are embedding a culture of experimentation, and there's no buy-in when you don't have a plan. So companies today are still trying to figure out how to even experiment and use this personalization technology as a true playing field to test, measure, and iterate. In today's environment, post-pandemic, we do know how important it is for a great customer experience. Personalization now is a business necessity and not an upgrade. Many know personalization is important, but for some businesses, it's still untapped territory. Some businesses are already doing it, and were even doing it prior to the pandemic. But because such a shift in consumer behavior changes have emerged, with customers wanting more convenient options, more communication connection with their companies that they do business with, many companies are not doing it optimally. Businesses who still know they need it don't know where to start, and those who know where to start don't always start correctly. So let's take a look at some of the common challenges that exist in business today for digital personalization. The first is a lack of trust in this technology. Personalization in digital has been around for a couple decades now, but there's still some skeptics out there in business that they believe this truly provides a return on investment in the technology. Second, even if we have the technology, there's skepticism on the results. Do we really believe a one-for-one experience translate and yields a larger gain for the organization in customer engagement, profitability, and more? There's also strategy barriers. One key aspect of digital personalization, it's not a set it and forget it technology. It needs to be part of our DNA as digital strategists. We must be able to use this as a tool for our everyday digital experience planning and execution. If we're not considering it as part of our planning and execution, we're missing out on a great opportunity to make this a useful tool and produce an ROI. And lastly, leveraging data to action. We all know we want to be data driven, but there's so many data variables involved with this technology. So we must be able to understand our data and truly fuel this technology for great digital experiences. So all of these are barriers, but there's one final one that's really important to consider when we build our digital experiences. So the final element missing with today's digital experience and personalization is human connection. Let's define it first. Human connection is an association that people experience when they want to feel seen, heard, and understood and valued as they are. This connection builds trust between individuals, and in this case, from the customer with their business. It gives them a sense of belonging. In today's personalization environment, it goes beyond just trying to offer the products and services that we want to have customers see to buy. We need to talk to our customers. We need to connect with them on interactive elements. We need to do more things to build that humanistic connection behind the screen. What it comes down to is adopting a theory and philosophy that artificial intelligence does not replace human innovation. What it does, it should augment it with building that human connection. Artificial intelligence and machine learning is something we should all embrace. It creates more efficiency in our marketing. It allows us to connect with multiple customers on a personalized level. But if all we do is, again, set it and forget it and leave out the human innovation behind it, what we're going to find ourselves in is in a place where our KPIs aren't as matched as we want them to be. We're not beating our goals. We're just really doing now the status quo, which is turning it on, building some fundamental rules, such as customers who bought it also bought this, customers who saw this also saw that. But if I'm not building an ongoing digital experience with that technology, then that's where we're lacking in today's environment. So what does this all mean? Personalization, again, is not a set it and forget it technology tool. When it first came out, we thought, well, let the automation do its thing. Let the digital experience be personalized and be automated. However, though, when you automate it, yes, you do that, but control it. Build the rules around it as just as if you were in an in-person experience. Don't forget the fundamentals of assessing your customer's behavior and go back to the basics of customer analysis. Understand behavioral traits that allows us to understand where do our customers want to be connected with? How do we communicate with them? And we can build personalization experiences that are beyond just a product or service. We can talk to our customers, use the data, but also use the data not only to fuel the technology, but not to solve our problems. The data is just a building block towards an experience. It's not the resolution to the experience. The human innovation is to understand how to develop that human connection. That's the solve. We need to be theoretical thinking individuals. We need to use analytics, but also be assumption-based and qualitative in that measurement as well. Let the machine learning accelerate, elevate, and produce. Absolutely. Allowed to be the efficient part of our marketing. But be the human intelligence to fuel the artificial intelligence. The artificial intelligence is just that. unless we put the rules in it from a humanistic perspective to truly look at how we understand our audience, how we're going to communicate with them, and also look at how the data can fuel that, that's where we are elevating our digital experiences today. So how do we do it? First, we need to build a culture in marketing of participate in the customer conversation. We want to look at it from many different avenues of communication, right? First, ask questions and share relevant information that helps build rapport, trust, and understanding. Something like a chatbot is a great example, which we'll use in a little bit as a case example. Take the surveys that you're using and actually produce that back into responses when we talk to them via chatbots, customer service, or marketing elements. Use what we're saying that we're seeing on social media with our customers and bring that back to them in marketing communication. Build the rules in our marketing experiences and digital experiences to allow them to know exactly what they want to know based on what they're telling us in all these digital channels. Be your authentic self in your brand. We know how important brand identity is, but be your authentic self in that. If your brand has a sense of humor, convey that on a regular basis. If you have a very serious brand that wants to be very formalized, make sure you express that in your communication. If you want to be known for something, build that in your communication with your experiences. But also respect people's boundaries, just like you would in the real world. No one is the right time to communicate, right? We know there's marketing analytics involved to know exactly what time of day we should market to somebody. But even with that, though, the type of message we should market with. When we build a digital experience, we need to understand we're still connecting with that person as a human, not just a passive audience, but an active audience as well. If we get into the mindset that we're building a connection based on activity and active-based marketing, then the passive marketing becomes less and active marketing pays off in the future. How do we do it continued is also staying focused on the present. Talk to your customers with the here and now. Be as upfront as you can with what's going on in their community, what's going on in society, what's going on in the world in general. Build a causal marketing campaign in your digital experiences beyond the product or service that you're offering. Connect with them, show care for them, really find the way to build that humanistic approach in a virtual world. Move past surface level and connect deeper. Get more involved with the ways your customers are thinking. Try to find options to test and learn with that. Just like you have a dialogue with a human person, just like a dialogue with a person behind the click of a mouse can be done as well. Show emotion and be empathetic in your tone of communication. Make sure you understand what your customers are going through. Make sure you understand the current times that you're in as well to build that human connection. Also, use behavior triggers to your benefit. Know exactly what's happening on your digital experiences through the digital analytics, and then in return, bring that back to rule inductions of the personalization technology to really build that environment your customers want to do business with you in. Now, to get to that point of understanding how to build this type of connection, we have to get out of the mindset as an organization that it's all about transactional data. It is, but it's not. We use transactional data, absolutely. Well, customers' bots, we know what we can personalize them on the products that they want. We know how to look at their pathing of a website to find out exactly where they went, how they browse, to provide good functionality experiences there. But if we want to talk about how to connect with them from a communication perspective, what we need to understand, though, it's beyond transactional data. Some of it is assumption-based. So build assumptions with qualitative CRM data standards of human connection. Go back to consumer behavior mindset. The wants, needs, preferences, and the directional behavior triggers of your customers. We study customer behavior a lot of the times in marketing degrees, but I feel like there's a gap, though, in the market for us to apply those theories of customer behavior in the technologies that we're serving. Because again, the technology is built off a set of rules. If we're not shifting those rules based off the different desires of our customers, what they want, how they need information, etc., then what we're doing is we're just letting that technology be a surface level technology based off that point in time. As customers and business is organic and dynamic, so does us as human innovators behind the artificial intelligence. So the personalization optimization cycle, it's a strategic mindset, not a formula. So again, yes, you're building rules in these digital personalization technologies on a very scripted method, but your approach is a strategic mindset. It's a culture in your organization. First, know your data. Again, transactional data, but what other elements of data can you use to tell that story about your customer, to build that connection with them as well? Once you know that data, facilitate it. So it goes down to fundamentals of data management and data sourcing. But when you're looking at what data really matters, That's what the facilitation is all about. So if I don't have enough behavioral data, go figure out a way to get that if you can. Sometimes you need to build a data set before you can actually use it for rural induction. So go build some test experiences first, absorb that initial data, and then go full blown with bigger experience strategies. Understand the rules of the tool. Every single personalization tool has some common ones. Again, a customer bought this and they also bought that, or they saw this and they saw that. However, though, we're getting more advanced though in some of the rule settings out there. We could do things based off their IP address and where they live from a climate perspective. So we know weather patterns. We know patterns for what areas have local stores or not, and who has more of a digital experience versus a digital experience to in-store, as an example. We can use geo-targeting, etc. Know the rules of your tool. The more you're equipped in knowing all the different elements of the rules of your tool, the more you're going to get outside of those out-of-the-box, canned, everyday rules and use some more rules to your benefit. Because the technology providers out there are providing this to you. Your job is to really get in there, understand your menu of options, and then start really getting into the sandbox and testing things out. Build the rules beyond a deeper than the surface level, like we talked about earlier. Try a few things out, and introduce rules that sometimes you may not be comfortable using sometimes, just to see if there's an impact or not. There's nothing wrong with taking a sample size and trying it out. That's a strategic mindset. Is getting in there and figuring out what are those rules I haven't tried before. How do I mix them in to build a better connection with my customers? Strategize the options. Always give yourself options in testing this technology. But from a human connection perspective, if you don't test it out, you won't know. And then experiment, experiment, experiment. Now, I do believe we all understand how important experimentation is, but if we're not building a connection with that from a humanistic perspective, our experimentation, again, is based off old data, not new ways of thinking. So the fundamentals of personalization steps still exist, okay? So it doesn't matter if you are a more mature company at personalization already or you're just getting into it. These are the fundamental steps you always have to implement. Gather comprehensive data like we talked about, both behavioral and descriptive information about your customers. Focus on segmentation. Deep clustering is important. We really want to be segmented in this opportunity for personalization. Define personalization goals, but secondary goals. In this environment, human connection in digital experiences, your primary metrics are very important, but there's also secondary ones you can learn from. Conversion is important. We know that, right? Or a large customer acquisition goal. But maybe secondary goals around engagement allow us to incrementally learn how to make other experiences later. So pay attention to the secondary goals to build further tests down the road. Also, create rule sets based on data-driven conditions and actions. Make sure we're very data-driven with these, but also remember, it is okay to also bring in assumptions, which we'll talk about in a minute. Combine explicit rules. Again, there's some very straightforward rules. If a user browses this, we show them that. If we look for X, we show Y. With inferred rules from historical data. And we test and measure. Now, those are the fundamentals of personalization, the common rules we're going to follow as a script of how to really use this technology. But let's go a step further with adding in the human connection element. First, embrace emotional intelligence. Again, it's a philosophy of mindset as a strategic digital experience professional. However, though, if you get into the mindset of your customer, know them from their ethos and psychographic elements, get back to the fundamentals of consumer behavior, find out what's causing their emotional reaction to your marketing or experience, then you're going to win 9 times out of 10. You're also going to look at their customer attitudes, but not so much they liked it or they didn't like it. Go deeper than that. Do more market research around this if you have to as well. The surveys give you a lot of great information, but if all you're looking at is the yes or no answers without looking at the open-ended answers, you're finding yourselves in a place where you could build an experience deeper than just yes or no, I liked it or not, and their perceptions. Craft content that sparks emotions and empathy. Tailoring messages and offering those marketing elements that resonate with customer emotions and preferences makes them more likely to convert. This can translate into higher conversion rates for purchases, signups, or other desired action. Absolutely, we know in today's environment, we need to connect with our customers with content. But with content, though, it's not just advertising. With an experience, it's all the way through that experience funnel. So if you think about the digital funnel, especially in digital experiences, we're trying to bring the customer down that funnel with effective content that carries with them through that entire experience. Those content elements will also shift along the funnel as well, based on the thought process of your consumers to really drive them down to that conversion. Craft contextual messaging. Touch points before, during, and after the visit. Just like I said, at every touch point along the way, we need to build curated messages that really bring them along the journey connected with them on a humanistic level. And we need to be relevant, and we also need to be there in the right time, in the right place. Then what do we do also is add in more dialogue to enrich the data. For example, again, chatbots is an example where we can leverage them as a use case to figure out how are they thinking, right? Chatbots can be used as a service, as an example, to answer questions about an order, handle disputes and conflict resolution. But maybe we actually have a dialogue. Maybe we can absorb some enriched data with this conversation. It also takes, though, a mindset of iterative refinement. Just like a relationship in real life outside of the digital world, we need to make sure we're listening and paying attention to things and responding with action. Okay. We need to make sure we're not just settling for what we thought worked for a long period of time and building that status quo environment. We need to be strategic and respond to things as we absorb the new information. We also need to build a customer feedback loop. We need to share experiences. We need to allow our customers, and this is great through social media experiences as well, but even on websites, build a platform, a forum for questions and answers. Build a forum for knowledge sharing. Do-it-yourself websites do it very well, where they can allow other customers to talk about how they use their products or services. That builds that human connection as well. And in fact, we all know that consumer-to-consumer engagement increases the brand equity because of the trust built between consumers. As it says, build a journey of connection. A better connection improves conversion. So almost take it as digital experience is building a digital connection. Let's use a case example. So Foot Retailer X sells everything from sandals, dress shoes, tennis shoes, etc. This segment that they're targeting in this digital experience is fashion millennials. So the target audience is millennials, and they're going to talk about fall fashion. So what they use is a fashion friend chatbot as a tactic to build human connection, a digital mechanism where they engage millennials in personalized talks, focused on discussions around specific shoe styles, upcoming events, and fashion trends. As you can see, the conversations were not based off what was on promotion that week. What is the brand new pair of shoes that they should buy? They actually wanted to get to know their audience. They wanted to talk to their audience and build that connection about the things that they have interest in around shoes, events, what kind of fashion do they like, etc. As you get to know your audience better, as an example, what they were able to do is get that enriched data. So that it is a merged CRM, multi-campaign response, browsing, and purchase data for building a robust profile of their customers. So we had maybe their transactional history of what they bought before, or at least their IP address and where they live, and customer profile data. But now we're getting enriched data on who they are and their interests. So there's this thing called human nuances and AI rules. AI learned from these chat dialogues, capturing unique preferences. Okay. Well, what we did in return is, as a human innovators, took that information and then crafted the storyboard for the experience from it. The example is a customer might mention their love for sustainable fashion or a preference for being comfortable yet trendy footwear. We can definitely make our segmentations even more focused around personalities of our customers too, and who they are. We can bring the customer to life. So what did this do in this example is that it had adaptive recommendations, hyper-personalized shoe suggestions involved with trends, right? Not just the great pair of shoes that are on sale that everybody wants or the great price. Those are all important. What we did is we connected with customers on a hyper-personalized level. So think about that word, hyper-personalized. That's what we're trying to do in this example. From this, the results were up 30% in conversion, 20% in order value, and obviously, the more we can connect with consumers, from that perspective, it builds loyalty and advocacy. But we're not done, though. We still have to continuously look at this to make sure that the AI is operating the way we want it to, learn as we go with this technology, and make sure that the chatbot skills that we're using here endure success. Continue new ways of asking questions to build dialogue with your customers, as an example. So the recognition for this retailer is they were a pioneer in emotive online retail experiences. Emotive, connecting with consumers, not trying to just sell them the product, but building an awareness and an environment that they have interest in to then expose the product or service. So remember, build a journey of connection. A better connection improves conversion. I want to thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you next time at the next MarTech conference.
Thank you for watching. Click the agenda link at the top of your screen to choose your next session.